Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that, look, shaven head, bald Jan is back, like the image behind me. Suits the theme, suits the branding. It's too hot here over in the UK. I've shaved my cranium. How you doing, man? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Of course, the daily series here on the channel where we reflect on what's being said about Chelsea. And ladies and gentlemen, my giddy aunt, she's off her nut. There's a lot to talk about. Chelsea look like they've wrapped up Kalidou Koulibaly, the 31-year-old Napoli centre-back, the captain of Naples, the captain of Senegal. He is looking like he will be a Chelsea player. Lots to talk about as well. Raheem Sterling flew over to the USA, to LA, to join Chelsea's pre-season tour. He was on the same flight as Armando Broja. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kalidou Koulibaly's 5-year deal, which sounds like a lot for a 31-year-old, and maybe it is. Mason Mount to sign a new deal. Eden Hazard is on the market. Could we? If we're in the business of signing plus 30-year-olds, you want a statement signing, you want a feel-good factor. Do you? Raheem Sterling and Eden Hazard? I know we've trod this ground before, and we've made positive points, negative points, all sorts of points were made. Please do consider dropping a like on the video. It means a lot as a content creator to see the viewers are enjoying the content, and it takes a click. Subscribe if you want to, and if you do, make sure you hit the bell, because videos are popping off at the moment. Lots of stuff to talk about here on the channel about Chelsea. Let's jump straight in with Kalidou Koulibaly. Fabrizio Romano just tweeting this morning, Chelsea are prepared to submit the final bid, official bid, for Kalidou Koulibaly. 38 million euros plus add-ons, which takes up to 40 million euro, which is about 34 million pounds. Napoli could accept after opening proposal worth 35 million euro turned down. Koulibaly has agreed personal terms with Chelsea, while Chelsea are also working on Nathan Ake, who's agreed personal terms also, but Chelsea have to finalise a fee with Manchester City. Now, it does seem like Napoli will sell to Chelsea. There's all kinds of reports suggesting. I'm going to read some information aggregated here by Cy Phillips at Cy Phillips Sport. He's talking about, Sky Sports is saying, like, Chelsea are pretty much close to agreeing. He's expected to sign with Chelsea. Originally, I thought the early reports was it was a 3-year contract plus an option of 1 year. And that would make sense, taking him up to 34 years old, and if Chelsea wants, they can trigger an extension to take him to 35. I'm reading it's a straight 5-year contract, which is a little bit of a talking point, to say the least. Now, it's being reported that he's going to get paid approximately 170k per week, which is fine. You know, it's what he represents. That wage is totally fine. But it will mean that he will be 36 years old on 170k at Chelsea when we signed Thiago Silva at 36 years old, lest we forget, on 100k. Granted, we didn't have to, he was on like a free transfer, and PSG sort of rejected him, so he sort of took what was available. But he's, you could also say free transfers should get paid more money. That's generally how it works. So for him to be getting paid that much more than Thiago Silva at that age, look, this is a far cry from the Chelsea of old, and maybe that's a good thing. Many of us thought it was unfair to give over 30-year-olds just 12-month deals under the previous regime. And I tend to agree. Yeah, and Thiago Silva and Karim Benzema and Ronaldo and all these people shown that post 30 you can not only can you be good, you can have your best years. Excuse me, I'm still poorly. I got tonsillitis, man. That sucks. 5 years? 5 straight years? Is that not a little bit risky? Is that what it took to convince him to come? Many of you guys are just like, it's not your money, man. Why'd you care? But one does care as a football fan how much your club spends, and are they making smart financial decisions, because it will hurt them in the future if they don't. Great. Look, I retweeted this tweet that offers some comfort in regards to this. For context, Dr. Rajpal Bra, which is a Twitter account, it's a doctor essentially. It talks about sports and science and stuff. He retweeted this and spoke about the 5-year contract, saying, "If you're wondering why Chelsea handed him a 5-year deal, his injury record is relatively superb throughout his career. Relatively superb. Testament to his dedication, commitment, and planning. Similar to Thiago Silva in that vein, and we know how that signing has gone for Chelsea." So that makes me feel a little bit better, positive in that sense. But, you know, it just seems a little bit risky. I'm still hoping it's a 4+1. So if Chelsea are just paying this guy high wages and it's not going how they want, because there's going to be no resale value on him, of course. This is his final contract. He wants to spend his final years at Chelsea. Great. That's what we want. But we'll have to see what happens there. Still really, really positive. Let's talk about the positives. This guy, like I say, is a leader. He's a captain of Napoli. He's a captain of Senegal. He's a really good physical, dominating, technical centre-half. He looks like he's built for the Premier League. He's been linked to the Premier League since 2016. He obviously stayed in Naples for a long time, but he's an incredible player. I think he'd be a great addition to Chelsea's squad. Really good for that sort of Rudiger style replacement in terms of leadership at the back. Him and Thiago Silva mentoring the youngsters is a superb. It's like a movie. If we played a back four, which by the way, it's been reported that we might be turning to a back four. You know, maybe there's not enough mobility there, but in terms of just sheer character size and titanic figures, a centre-back partnership of Kalidou Koulibaly and Thiago Silva is a movie, man. So we can get excited about that. Let's move on. Armando Broja is set to join up with Chelsea in the squad in LA. There's been a lot of concern around him about his potential sale for £30 million is a figure that's been going around to Newcastle or Everton or West Ham. I think they've all looked at him. And then people have been on the fence and debating Armando Broja. Yes, he's a talent. Yes, he's high octane and he's full of self-belief. I said on Matisse's channel, Mars channel, that I think we should keep him just for his, how hungry he is. A lot of people are like, look, if we get £30 million for a guy who scored 6 goals in 40 appearances, I'll take it, especially if Tuchel is not quite sure about him. So I can see both sides, but personally, I'd like to see Armando Broja in the team given a chance, and by all accounts he will be given a chance here on pre-season. And the interesting thing is, on the jet that he flew out to America, he was with new Chelsea talisman superstar signing Raheem Sterling. It's exciting. So he'll be presented as a Chelsea player in LA. I'm sure we'll do some media stuff out there with him, and it's very, very exciting. And yeah, I'm sort of buzzing on that to see Raheem out there training with all the boys. Now, there's been interviews out there in pre-season. The BBC have done a interview of Raheem Sterling. Reece James. Jesus, I'm struggling here. I'm still sick, man. You got to cut me some slack. Reece James pretty much saying, I've been at Chelsea all my life. I support Chelsea all my life. I want to be at Chelsea. I'm happy at Chelsea. I don't see why that will ever change. Amid speculation that Manchester City and Real Madrid all want to sign Reece James, nailing his colour to the mast yet again. And similarly, Mason Mount has done a interview with Simon Johnson, and he said a few things. Quote, after the last game of the season, we had a little get-together in the hotel, and he, Todd Bowley, was there and with the rest of the consortium. It was good to meet them in person and speak to them all. It's so exciting what the future holds. So, coming from Simon Johnson's Sport, again, writer of The Athletic, he says Mason Mount has indicated for the first time he wants to commit his long-term future to Chelsea and is ready to begin negotiations over a new contract. He said, I've got 2 years left of my contract. I'm very, very happy here. Those talks will hopefully be starting soon. Now, Mason Mount is one of the lowest earners in the Chelsea squad. I don't know if Nizar said this, but remarkably, he's still on the same wages that he was on before his international debut. So the wages where he came back for as a lonely championship player, he's won the Champions League, he's won other sort of trophies, and he's vital for Chelsea in England, and he gets paid peanuts. Amazing money for any of us, but peanuts for a footballer. So there you go. Mason Mount nailing his colour to the mast there with Reece James. So important for the new ownership that we get them both signed up on new long-term deals. Kalidou Koulibaly, further reiterating further that Kalidou Koulibaly will sign a 5-year contract, and that's coming from Italian source Matteo Moretto. Of course, we are not done in the defence. Chelsea are negotiating a fee for Nathan Ake, who is a favourite of Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel. He is agreed to join Chelsea, probably been agreed to a certain role, and he is agreed personal terms. All positive. A fee needs to be agreed with Manchester City. But we're saying that it's looking like a £45 million sum will be enough. So Chelsea will essentially sign both Nathan Ake and Raheem Sterling for $90 million up front, $45 million each. Which, for both players, people are seeing this two ways. One is, that's two decent, very good player and a promising player for $90 million, Premier League, proven, as much as that's a dirty word these days. They're like, great. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but, they're not both first choice for Man City and we've just given them £100 million. Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? It's up to you to decide what your perspective is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's move on to a silly season sensational speculation segment. Oh, that was lovely. And that, excuse me. And that is Eden Hazard is on the transfer market. And this is coming from the Madrid Zone on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, bearing in mind as well, first context is, when they had that trophy parade on the bus, he was like, I haven't been able to play. I've had this injury, but I'm going to give everything for you. And he's got that plate out of his ankle. And now he's meant to be playing with freedom and feels kind of good. And it's reported that he wants to stay, but he's on the transfer market. Real Madrid want to keep the case open until the final day of the transfer market. For example, the Madrid Zone has had put up Eden Hazard, sell or keep. And yeah, there's a mixed sort of opinion from fans. A lot of Real Madrid fans got excited at the end of the season when he came out and did that speech and thought, you know what? Yeah, it's time for Eden Hazard, especially after Kylian Mbappe sort of rejected them. There was a lot of hurt, and then you've got this guy who's really talented saying, "I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to play for you," and then they get all excited again. And you know what? He's not been a dick to us. Let's back Hazard. So a lot of them now are saying they want to keep. But if he's on the transfer market, and if Chelsea are signing over 30-year-olds for 5-year deals and trying to make waves, and they're talking about, Neymar and Ronaldo, even though Tuchel reacted negatively to those players, probably because they're hard to manage and stuff. But I think Eden Hazard, he's a team player. He's not an ego. And that's precisely what Chelsea want. He's spoken about how we want to be a hard-working team. You have to get Hazard working hard, which is one thing, but he's not going to be this ego. He's going to be a team player. He's going to support the team, and he's not going to be selfish. Tricky, but I wanted to put it out there and get your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. But 5-year deal for Kalidou Koulibaly, that's a huge talking point. Make sure you discuss that down in the comment section below. Nathan Ake, Broja, everything that we've spoken about in the video, I want to hear you guys or see you guys talking about it down in the comment section below. So thank you for joining me. Make sure you do drop a like before you leave and turn the bell on when you subscribe, because there's so much going on and I don't want you guys to miss a beat. Almost certainly will record again today if Raheem Sterling is announced. So keep it locked. I look really forward. I look forward to being able to friggin' speak again when I don't feel so sick. Guys, see you very soon. Thanks for joining me. Peace.